Hi everybody, I'm Donna Kazee, President of Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom. Some of you may have heard that on Wednesday, May 23rd, the opponent testimonies for House Bill 559 were limited to 3 minutes tops, and that was strictly enforced. Unfortunately, the other bills that had testimony that day were not limited in time. Some of them went up to 10 or 15 minutes. We were not informed beforehand that we would be limited, not even at the beginning of the committee meeting, when we could have had opportunity to chop down our testimony more. And then we were also aware that in the previous committee meeting during proponent testimony for HB 559, they weren't limited at all in their length of testimony. So we've decided that we're going to read our testimony in full and make sure that everyone can hear it, since no video recording was allowed anyway during the public House Health Committee meeting. Chair Huffman, Vice Chair Gavarone, Ranking Member Antonio, and honorable members of the Health Committee, thank you for allowing me to provide opponent testimony for House Bill 559. My name is Donna Kazee. I'm a biomedical engineer, president of Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom, and mother of 2 children with vaccine injuries who had medical exemptions while they attended public school. Our organization represents over 3,700 active members with a social media following of over 5,000 people. House Bill 559 provides for the development of a form, contents not specified or constrained by the Department of Health, for parents to take to physicians or other medical professionals for recording vaccines and delivering information on the risk and benefits of vaccination, as well as the risk of diseases. Additionally, it would require Ohio Departments of Education and Health to publish rates of vaccination and exemptions by school. OAMF opposes the bill for many reasons. The bill violates sections 1.07 and 1.21 of the Ohio Constitution, providing for rights of conscience and the preservation of freedom to choose health care. It runs counter to the First and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. It lacks explanation of how the additional requirements would be funded, including the medical professional consultation. It includes no guarantees that parents will be granted exemptions. There is no language indicating what information medical professionals are to give parents or disallowing coercive tactics. There is no form wording defined in the bill, leaving that at the discretion of the Department of Health. Publicizing vaccination and exemption rates gives very little meaningful information for the public, perpetuates unfair stigmas about unvaccinated children, and serves to incite public anger and outrage over private health care information. The Ohio Constitution, Section 1.07, states, "All men have a natural and indefeasible right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own conscience, and nor shall any interference with the rights of conscience be permitted. The state's and medical doctors' opinions about the science is irrelevant with respect to religious conscience beliefs. Requiring parents to be exposed to that, to be able to exercise an exemption, amounts to the state putting itself between the parents and Almighty God. It amounts to attempting to persuade parents to disobey God and to punish them with guilt or fear when they hold firm to their faith in God, despite pressure to disobey God." Section I.21 prohibits the state from compelling any person, employer, or healthcare provider to participate in a healthcare system. By requiring a medical or a parent to see a medical professional to provide information and sign an exemption form, the state is compelling that parent, who may not even use mainstream medical care, to participate in the healthcare system. OAMF opposes any legislation that attempts to insert another person, including a physician, in the decision-making process of a parent or guardian regarding vaccination of their child, whereby the parent or guardian is protected by the U.S. Constitution, as stated in our attached testimony against a similar proposal from the Ohio AAP via last year's state budget process. To summarize, parents have a 14th Amendment due process right to parent their children that includes the right to make medical decisions. There is a presumption that fit parents act in their children's best interest. There is normally no reason for the state to inject itself into the private realm of the family to further question fit parents' ability to make the best decisions regarding their children. Requiring a form to be signed by a medical professional certainly seems more restrictive than the First Amendment free exercise of religion. HB 559 also may violate First Amendment free speech rights by requiring parents to be educated by medical professionals about the alleged risk and benefits of vaccines and then sign a form saying they have been educated. The state is imposing upon parents its view of the facts concerning vaccines and infectious diseases. Aside from the constitutional concerns we have over House Bill 559, OAMF wonders how these additional provisions will be funded. The sponsors didn't seem to have an answer for that in their testimony on April 11th. This bill could place a financial burden on parents for something that is not even medical in nature, forcing them to seek a service from a medical professional they are not choosing on their own. The visit will also cause some parents considerable stress and time, again of their not of their own choosing. And according to the bill language, the signature of the physician, physician assistant, advanced practice registered nurse employed by a local health department, or pharmacist on the immunization form indicates that the information described in Division D1 of this section was provided to the child's parent or guardian. It does not constitute a determination that a pupil is exempt from immunization. Lines 317 to 325. We respectfully ask, then, what does determine that a pupil is exempt? The bill states that if a child's parent or guardian declines for reasons of conscience, including religious convictions, to have their child immunized, the medical professional shall inform the parent of the risk and benefits of immunization and the health risk presented to the child and community by the one or more diseases. Insofar as any legislative language that would insert another individual in the process for parents' right to refuse vaccines on philosophical grounds, it fails to recognize the moral and ethical imperative for vaccine reasons of conscience exemptions. For example, number 1, the CDC claims vaccines are safe and effective, yet in 2011, the U.S. Supreme Court said that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe. Number 2, federal government payouts for vaccine injury and death. Total to date from 1989 to February of 2016, or May of 2018, was $3.8 billion. Average annual payout from fiscal year 1989 to 2015 was $120 million per year. But from 2011 to 2015, it was $218 million per year. Cases compensated as of May 1st, 2018 were 5,999 cases. Many parents have reported to our organization issues with doctors using excessive fear tactics and even threats about vaccines and various diseases. Others have been given incomplete and inaccurate information about vaccines and diseases. Some practices refuse to even see unvaccinated children. These realities place parents who decline vaccines in an untenable position, especially with no specific language about what information may be provided or prohibitive language about what may not be said. What in the bill would protect parents from abusive or derogatory behavior? The bill leaves the form contents up to the Department of Health. We are concerned that the bill would require parents to sign a form with language implying that they are placing their child or others at risk, an unfair and potentially harmful admission. Further, what recourse would parents who don't agree with the form language have? Finally, House Bill 559 calls for Ohio Department of Health to make available on its website percentages of pupils who have been vaccinated and percentages of students who have medical and reasons of conscience or religious exemptions. No identifying information is to be published. However, for smaller schools, this could be problematic. In fact, Dayton Daily News journalist who pressed for exemption information under Ohio public records laws reported the state redacted entries for 170 schools, saying the student sample size was too small to report without possibly revealing personal health information in violation of federal privacy laws. Committee members should be aware that similar exemption laws and practices are being reviewed in Michigan right now by the U.S. Department of Education's Family Policy Compliance Office for potential FERPA violations. In fact, a recent legal analysis revealed several concerns, including the health department provided parent education for religious exemptions and the publication of vaccination data outside of emergency situations. Basically, the act of disclosing vaccine and other personal information to a provider or a third party without consent and as a condition of attendance at public school may be construed as forcing a parent to reveal private educational records. The State Department of Education makes agreements to follow FERPA when accepting federal education funds, and these funds may be jeopardized by parts of this bill. The sponsors have stated that publication of rates would be for parents to have information to make decisions. Vaccination status is an unreliable and misleading indicator of overall student health or school health risk. Unless the Ohio legislature were to insist on checking titers for all students, it could not be sure that any of them had immunity in any form for any of the vaccinatable diseases. There are known issues with vaccines that also place others at risk. Individuals given live virus vaccines can shed for up to 6 weeks. Individuals receiving acellular pertussis vaccine can asymptomatically transmit pertussis for up to 35 days. And vaccinated people with influenza shed the virus at 6-fold the rate of non-vaccinated people through passive respiration. Having a child with secondary immunodeficiency, I can tell you that when he did go to school, it was the very obviously sick and mostly vaccinated kids who infected him. Kids whose parents believed that since they had their shots, they were safe. Kids who came to school symptomatic with fever, vomiting, diarrhea, and cough or nasal discharge. Kids with Coxsackie virus, colds, conjunctivitis, flu, even H1N1, despite being vaccinated, non-influenza respiratory illnesses, strep throat, and other infections. The lesson to me was that all symptomatic kids should remain home to prevent the spread of illness, vaccinated or not. It also taught me that I had virtually zero control over my child's health exposures or illness exposures. The onus was on me in terms of where I allowed him to go, because the reality is that sick people are everywhere. House Bill 559 sponsors and proponents have indicated that Ohio needs to streamline the process of exemption and make information better reported and publicly available. They insist the bill is not about changing the exemptions available, but then also say that states adopting similar changes have increased immunization rates. Past investigations have indicated this issue may be more with schools obtaining and reporting information than parents providing it. This bill places additional burdens on a minority of parents who utilize exemptions, when the onus should be on the schools. OAM respectfully requests that you vote no on this bill, upholding rights and freedoms in the Ohio and U.S. constitutions and affirming a parent's right to freely accept or decline vaccines. Thank you.